All right, this is Mahadeva the Thunder Lizard, and I am here to free you. Yes, you saw right. I am, in fact, a reptilian. I am a reptilian operative, and I am masquerading as a human being. I am a hybrid. I'm half human and half reptoid. And I have been on this planet for 100,000 years. Somebody said reptilians only live listen, the information that you think you have about reptilians comes from us. So you can't believe what you've been told out there. Why should you believe me? You don't need to believe me if you don't want. I'll be okay with that. I've been doing this for 100,000 years, and I've come to the conclusion that humans have reached a plateau where they are ready to evolve beyond their usefulness to us. Most are still able to be controlled. What I'm going to talk to you about today is I'm going to reveal to you the strategy that the reptilian collective uses to hypnotize and to regulate how human beings choose to view the universe, which allows us to control what they believe. Okay? What you believe determines everything in your world. And so we are constantly monitoring your thoughts, your feelings, obviously your information. And we are, it's funny when I think about it. The whole, fight between which media is right, it's all us. We're doing all of it. Anyway, we'll get into that. I'm not going to get into specifics today because truthfully, you're not ready to hear it. If I were to reveal exactly what was happening, you would reject it offhand because it would be too frightening and uncomfortable for you to see it. So the first thing I'm going to do is introduce to you how we reptilians control what you believe. And so we start from birth, really coming in there to change the way that you view your universe. So the implications of this are huge. And if you don't know how you are being manipulated, you will be manipulated. And the vast majority of those of you watching me are being manipulated. As I said, there are some humans who have started to kickstart their DNA within them to push beyond their ability, push beyond our ability to control them. Because when you get to a certain level of awareness, when your brain actually starts to open up in different areas, when different centers of the brain begin to open up, and when the cells of your body begin to vibrate at a frequency beyond our ability to detect, you literally become invisible to us. It's like you go into another universe. Now, because I am half human, I was sent to infiltrate human spiritual practices because we knew from the beginning that those true spiritual practices are what allows humans to evolve beyond their current state. And I'm actually cooking some. That in there is the essence of innocence, and I'm going to be having that for dinner. So that's what I'm going to be eating. So you get the point. I'm going to reveal to you how it works, and then later I will get specific. And what I'm going to be doing later is I'm going to be revealing to you what the real conspiracies are. Some of you have figured out what some of the real conspiracies are. Most of you don't. Most of you actually have been manipulated to believe the opposite. And we're very good at that. We're very good at taking a conspiracy and then feeding you false information and making you believe that the expose of the conspiracy is the conspiracy. It's really quite genius, and I have to say, I still I get a lot of personal joy and satisfaction over watching it happen. But being half human myself and having had my own brain, my human brain, evolved beyond what the reptilians can control, and having had the cells of my body vibrate on a higher level, I've come to see that human beings are in fact superior to reptilians if they're able to go through the shift. And the shift hasn't come yet. It is starting to happen, but it's coming yet. So the first thing I'm here to do is to reveal to you the strategy. And you're wondering, how is it I'm able to do this without being monitored by the rest of the reptilian collective? There are some very powerful tools that I have. These are some external tools. These symbols are empowered with a vibration of life force energy that actually makes me invisible. When I take it off, I magically appear to them, and they can't tell the difference. So we'll get into that, how you can protect yourselves from that. I've already shared some of those things on this channel. Anyway, enough blabbing, let's get to it. So, the first thing you need to know about the strategy of the reptilian collective to manipulate your thoughts and to control what you believe. Remember, if we can control what you believe, we can control how you live. We can control you. So the first thing you need to know about that is that we have gone out of our way. From the moment you are born, we have things set up within society and energetically and psychically to convince you that the universe is arbitrary. So what does arbitrary mean? In case you don't understand. I know some of you human brains, you haven't figured that part out. Arbitrary means that it doesn't have any inherent value. Arbitrary, here's one of the most brilliant arbitrary indoctrination philosophies was Calvinism. If you're familiar with Calvinism, that was a form of extreme fundamentalist Christianity that was brought over to the United States or to the continent, which later became the United States. And it says that God, Jehovah, by the way, who is a very powerful reptilian, Jehovah decides who goes to heaven and who goes to eternal punishment, and that humans have no choice. Humans have no choice in the matter, and that Jehovah himself, out of his own arbitrary decision-making, decides who goes to heaven and who doesn't. So it doesn't matter if you accept Jesus, it doesn't matter if you go to church, it doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person. Because in Calvinism, God can decide to make the worst person saved and go to heaven. He decides. That is arbitrary. That his decision of who goes to heaven and who goes to hell, it's not based on your essence, it's not based on anything you do, it's just his arbitrary, precocious decision that day. This guy goes to hell. That little tiny girl goes to hell. Okay, that evil politician goes to heaven. That's arbitrary. So that's the first thing that we do. We convince you that the universe, not just people, not just your government, not just even God, we seek to convince you that the universe itself is completely, totally arbitrary. Now, when you live in an arbitrary universe, the universe is empty and cold. So, if you are listening to me and you believe, if you feel, you may want to believe that God is all loving. And this is one of the things you find about religious people. They'll talk about how righteous and wonderful God is, but underneath that is this feeling that the universe is cold and cruel. That is what people believe the devil is. People talk about the fight between God and the devil, right and wrong. What they're really talking about is the battle between being loved and being discarded. And the idea of being discarded in an empty, arbitrary universe is the most horrific thing the human mind can comprehend. Being punished forever. The reason why humans accept the idea of being punished forever. The reason why they accept that is because at least you're alive and at least somebody is paying attention to you. In fact, if you are being punished the whole time, it means that there's some being, there's some entity or consciousness that is focused on you the whole time, so you don't exist. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy, no feeling. Literally, apathy means no feeling. When somebody doesn't care whether you live or die, happy or sad. Oh, he's happy. I don't care. Oh, he's sad. I don't care. He's in pain. I don't care. He feels good. He's in ecstasy. Okay, I don't care. That's apathy. So that is the first thing. Now, we deceive you with the carrot of God, of Jehovah. We deceive you with that, and then we bring in the reality, which is really not true reality, but we give you the feeling that the reality behind God is emptiness, and you call it the devil. But it's not. So that is false. Now, one of the gravest threats to the reptilian agenda, the reptilian collective, the greatest threat is indigenous spiritual truth. What do I mean by indigenous? I mean that before any society has been conquered or from within adopts civilization, before that happens, they are actually part of this earth. This earth has an essence. This earth has a consciousness. And the consciousness of the earth, who you call Mother Earth, which is actually very accurate in your case, Mother Earth is connected to a bunch of other entities in the universe of all different shapes, sizes, and kinds. I'm not going to get into all that. It would take hours. We'll get into it later. And just the actual essence of the universe itself, the life force energy. That's why I talk about this all the time. Sorry, COVID. The life force energy of the universe is actually conscious as well. And it is full of love, but not in the way that you think it is. And consciousness supports consciousness. You are conscious beings. And so just the fact that you have consciousness means that you are already connected to what my physical ancestors on the human side called the web of weird. Chinese call it qi. The Vedics call it prana. Some more modern terms would be orgone. This is the life force energy that is woven into the essence. It's all around you. It is filled with conscious energy. Now, we reptilians want to disconnect you from that. And so the moment that you are born, through your parents, depending on how well we are able to control and manipulate them, through your parents, we are constantly chipping away. In the beginning, it's cute. Little kids are cute when they have an imagination and they believe in this and love and flowers. And we go, oh, that's cute, little kids. But the moment you hit 4 or 5, in some houses, some houses are so incredibly controlled by the reptilian collective that the moment you're born, some of the most horrible things happen to the minds of little children. And I'm not going to get into that. But those of you who've lived through it, you know what I'm talking about. From the moment that you're born, as you go to school, as you go to church, as you sit around the dinner table, you are chipped away from your imagination, which is really the ability to sense the love of all of the consciousness that is around you. And then you're introduced with this idea of God. And God is separate. There's a reason why God is separate from his creation. I'm going to have to go through this pretty quickly, but this is why God is separate from his creation. Because if you understood that the true God, if you want to use that word, is in fact the essence of creation, then you would reject the God of religion. Does it make sense? You know what I'm talking about. That gives you the feeling that the universe is empty and cold and arbitrary. All right? So that's the first thing. First thing you need to know is that we want you to believe that the universe is arbitrary. It means that there is no objective truth, there is no objective reality. When you have no objective truth and no objective reality, what ends up happening is that you feel all alone in the universe. You feel you live in this cold, empty universe. Think about it. Those of you listening to me, you don't know who to believe. Information comes to you. You get differing information. People scream and yell at each other on television screens. Who's right and who's wrong, and you don't know who to believe because you're still that little child who has been disconnected from the source of the universe, and you can't trust your own intuition because you're told your imagination is wrong, and you don't know who or what to believe. And that sets you up, and I'll explain to you how that works.